Welcome to the first episode of Talking to Myself, a podcast where I talk to myself. If you want to know who I am, you can call me Ms.Black introvert. So, yeah, this podcast is just going to be me talking about things that have been affecting my life recently, things, just anything I really want to talk about, pretty much. I have to start this conversation off with a story time kind of. Recently I just ended a 3 year long situationship. So I was talking to this guy, real cool guy. Like there's no he doesn't have any red flags. There's really no real red flags, I guess. He's not like a horrible person. You know how sometimes you go out of relationships and you're like, fuck, that person was a horrible person. But he's not a horrible person. It's just he's a very nonchalant person. And the person that I am, I'm not a nonchalant chick. Like everything about me is pretty, I like to joke, I like to whatever. And sometimes it's just a matter of like compatibility. So, it yeah, for me, I guess it took oh god, I'm sweating, y'all. I hope this isn't distracting. So it took me a minute to really come to terms with the fact that we're just not compatible as friends and as FWBs. If you don't know what that stands for, then you probably are too young to be here. So we're just not compatible as friends. Also, I had feelings for the person, so it just wasn't gonna work because I have feelings for you. We're supposed to just be friends. I don't know how this is gonna work because I don't want to be a friend. Like, if I hear you're dating someone else, if I hear that you're having intercourse with someone else or anything like that, y'all know how situationships go. You're gonna be mad. You're gonna be like, oh, okay. So we're not really friends because if my friends tell me they got some action, I should be happy for them. But with this person, I'm not gonna be happy. I'm gonna be irritated a little bit. So I just realized that it was a situationship, not a real friendship. We didn't really go out anywhere. We stayed in his house most of the times. It was just very like, and at first I was okay with that situation. Like, okay, I'm okay with coming to your house, watching some anime, listening to watch you play your music. I'm okay with this because, and I was okay with it. I was in that space where that was pretty much all I've known, pretty much all I was comfortable with. Um, it was the frequency I was on. But slowly I started to realize I am not okay with it, and nor do I want to keep entertaining a situationship. Either we're going to be together or we're going to be friends. And I was realizing that we weren't going to be together, but I don't think we were going to be friends either. So you might be asking, why did it take you 2 years to realize you weren't compatible with the person in a relationship way or even a friendship way? Like, why did it take you so long to realize that? And I think I realized it pretty early on, but as a 27-year-old with no friends, literally no friends. I mean, I had one friend, but that ended, and I'll get into that, how that went. But first, we're talking about the situationship and how that ended. So it didn't take me that long. It took me pretty quick to realize that this is a messy, confusing situation, and where there's confusion, that like I don't like to be confused. I like attentions to be very clear. I like everything to be very out on the table. I'm an inquisitive person. I told the guy I was in a situationship with, I'm a very inquisitive person. I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna inquire because how else am I going to know things if I don't ask questions? And I just was realizing the answers to my questions weren't satisfying. So, okay, I'm asking you, okay, can we hang out sometime? If we're friends, like usually with my friends, I go out places. I don't just sit in a house smelling their air. Like I go out, we do things together. And he was just like, I'm not that type of person. Whatever. Cool. You're just somebody that stays in the house, which I would be fine with that. Like, okay, you're just the type of person. I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out with you that much because I'm like, I want to go out sometimes. I want to do activities. But I would have been fine with that had they been like their actions represented that type of personality. But this person was going out, like not a bunch, but they were going out enough where it's like, okay, if you know I'm an activity based person, why are you not inviting me out? You know, I like music. They would go to music events. They would go They would go to music events, like little trips to places, and I'm just like, okay, sure, I get it. Sometimes I don't need to be around all the time, right? We all have certain friends that we hang out with certain friends, whatever. But it was just coming to a point where I realized you don't view me as a friend like you view these other group of people. Background on him, he has like a really tight group of friends, like that he's known for a really long time. And that's another thing about making friends, like when you're older. A lot of people have a established friend group, and just like the Drake song, they're like, no new friends, no new friends. And I find that a little childish. I find that a little high school. But you know, to each his own. If you like that, if you like, we got the friend group, no one else can enter, no one else shall pass. Okay, cool, whatever. Bitch is not the Beatles. I don't care. Like, I don't care to be another member of your group that bad. But I was just starting to realize, like, okay, maybe this is a close knit friend group, and they're those type of people that are like, no new friends, whatever. I didn't expect them to be like that, or him to even be like in a type of vibe like that, because he's an alternative person. I'm all like, when I say alternative, I just mean like our surroundings. We probably look and like things, our hobbies are pretty different outside of the norm to the environment. So I just call it alternative. So a lot of alternative people, I assume they're just very welcoming and inviting to other people. They're just like, yeah, the more the merrier. There's not that many black alternative people. So yeah, girl, come. But no. And I don't know if it's his friends that were putting that type of sentiment, but he himself made it clear to me that when he's out with his group of friends, and mind you, it's not a situation of like some weird misogynistic, like, I'm with the bros, there's no girls around. He's friends with girls. He's friends with women. He's friends with femmes. It's not like he don't have friends that identify as women. So it was kind of getting to a point where I was like, okay, is there something about me where you don't want me around your friends? And then I just was like, maybe it's because you ain't known me that long, and you're just like, whatever, no new friend type of behavior. But at first, I didn't care about that. Like, okay, we could just be friends. I don't gotta hang out with your other friends. But I started to realize he don't go out unless he's going out with his group of friends. So it leaves me in this place where, like, okay, if the only time you go out, and I like to go out, if the only time you go out and do some type of activity, mind you, when I say go out, I don't mean a club, I don't mean anything, a party. I just mean like go out, smell the fresh air, a park, a lake, things like that. When you're going out, I would appreciate it if you invited me. And the only time you go out is with your friends, and for some reason you don't want to invite me too, and it just was all weird. It's not a I tried to come up with like explanations or like excuses for him, like, well, maybe he thinks I can't get there, but no, I have a car. Maybe he thinks I'm not free, but you could just ask me if I'm free, give me the option to tell you, oh no, I'm busy. But it was never none of that. The only time I was invited was to be in his house, in his bed. And I had to tell him, like, okay, I am not okay with that. Like, that's not where I'm at right now in life. I don't want to be somebody's Netflix and chill. Like, that's such a dated term. But like, it was just given Netflix and chill. And eventually I got tired of it. But circling back to my original point, why it took me so long to realize that I wasn't okay with this situationship, it was because I was lonely. Like, I was lonely. I didn't have any friends. He was my only friend. He was the only person I was really comfortable with. So I stuck around. I stuck around enduring an environment that I really didn't thrive in. I really didn't think the best in. Um, Simply because I didn't want to be alone. And I realized that. And I was like, okay, you could either be alone or you could stick around and be bitter and angry. Cause it got to a point where we're arguing all the time. And it's like, what are we arguing for? It would be over the stupidest things. It would be over the dumbest things, y'all. the dumbest things. And I had to realize, okay, if I'm sitting here arguing with this person 24/7, we're not real good close friends. We're not like there's not a real friendship here. And if there is one, it's a toxic one. So this isn't a friendship. It's weird and toxic. I'm sticking around just so I can have something to do when I'm sticking around just so I can have something to do with someone else. I could sit at home by myself, but I didn't like to sit at home by myself because I didn't like to be alone. I say all that to say I'm getting better with liking my own company. Like I've been wanting to start a podcast for a minute, and the reason I did it was because I didn't have anybody to be a co-host. I was like, okay, I can't start a podcast unless I have a co-host. You know, you who wants to watch a video of somebody just talking to themselves? Whatever. And I kind of was relying on someone else to kind of do the idea with me. Like I wasn't secure in my own personality being enough to hold a podcast, like to keep it, keep it interesting. Which, yeah, typically podcasts do better when there's two people or more than two people. Um, but I was just waiting on people. I didn't want to do anything alone. Like, and I was just like, no, I'm just do it. What am I? I'm gonna just sit here and wait until I find somebody that's really serious about doing something when I could just do it myself. So that's whatever. So the podcast came about because I was tired of thinking I had to do things within the shit. I'm tongue tied. I was tired of thinking I had to do things in the company of others. And recently, I've been doing a lot of things alone. I've been going to the park. I've been learning to roller skate. I've been going alone to do that. Used to be a point where I'm like, I'm not gonna go outside and bust my ass by myself. I gotta have somebody else there to soften that anxiety of me outside not knowing how to do something. Like I needed somebody there as an emotional crutch. Like, okay, if you here, I feel a little bit better about this situation. So I I got rid of that notion. When I got rid of it, because sometimes it's still a struggle. Like if I'm going to an event, I'm gonna want somebody to be there. Like if it's a party with a bunch of people or it's an event with a bunch of people, I gotta go with someone else because I'm not at that point where I could just go somewhere without there being another individual. Um, in that setting. But as far as like going out and doing things I want to do, hobbies like roller skating, it's kind of like a solo hobby when you think about it. Yeah, you could do it with other people, but usually you see people with their headphones on and they're just going. So roller skating has really allowed me to be okay with being alone and enjoying being alone, not just putting up with it. You know how some people are like, I love being single. Like you can almost hear the pain in their voice. It's not a thing like I'm putting up with being alone because I have to be alone. It's like, no, I like being alone. I like my own company. I'm funny. I make myself laugh. I be in here laughing at my own jokes. I like the silence. I like the I like not having the pressure of someone else's judgment or perception of me or someone else's comfort. I'm a people pleaser. And if there's no people around to please, I like that. I'm working on not being a people pleaser, but most of the time I'm a people pleaser. So being around people is very draining for me because I'm always like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Oh, okay. Like it's just draining. Maybe that's not, I'm sure that's not everyone's story, but for me as a people pleaser, I'm, I would, I realized that my solitude was my freedom. That's the most free. I'm the most free when I'm alone. I'm the most free when it's just me and my thoughts. Um, and that's where the title of this episode came from, like loneliness or freedom, because I think a lot of people look at loneliness or being lonely or being alone as a bad thing, as a thing you should not be, a thing you should run away from, and it leads them to stick in situations that just aren't good for them. Um, Speaking of situations that aren't good for them, I did have a friend recently that I had to stop talking to. I realized I was just keeping this friendship going because I just to say I had a friend, just to not be alone, just to have somebody to do these activities with that I wanted to do. Like, yeah, I like to go out. I like to drink sometimes. I like to go to the bar sometime. I like going to bar crawls and things like that. So who am I going to do it with? And they were the person I got to do it with. And at first it was great, having a friend, and we had a lot in common, I think. Like, they were very alternative. They wore the type of things that they wanted to wear. They didn't care about other people's perception of them, and they demanded respect, which I 1000% respected and admired and inspired to be. Because, like I said, I'm a people pleaser. So being around them gave me, like, it inspired me. And I think your friends should do that. I think your friends should be inspirational, should be somebody that you adore in a way. And I did. I really did. They were so cool in that aspect of, like, autonomy and demanding respect and just being themselves in a way. But then the more I hung out with them, I started to realize, okay, you kind of have some ways about you. And I think they knew, I think they even knew, like, yeah, I have some ways about me. And, like, I noticed when we went out, if somebody's like there was one instance where these group of people were like laughing very loud. I laugh loud a lot of the times, but they were laughing really loud, and my friend just was like, face turned up, like, why are you doing all that type of thing? And so I was like, okay, maybe, sometimes when you drink, you get a little irritated by little things. Like, you ready to fight because somebody bumped your shoulder a little bit. So I was like, okay, well, maybe. Um, or if you liked something, like, I remember one time I brought up Lizzo, I think it was like, okay, but they did this bad thing, X, Y, and Z. Like, you couldn't just enjoy a person without there suddenly being a reason why they suck or a reason why it's not good. I just felt like being around them, my interests were disregarded. Um, I felt like they thought the things I enjoyed was stupid. It was often dismissed. They came off very snooty a lot of the times. We come from very different backgrounds. Um, they grew up kind of in the suburbs. I did not. I didn't think that would be an issue, and I don't even think that's the main issue. I think their mindset is just very different from mine. Like, I'm more of a no, I don't want to be a people pleaser, but I want to have a balance where I'm not just like people hating, people disliker. I don't know. Like, I'm still kind. Like, I still want to be kind. And they were kind to me, but to other people, it was very like, and I don't want to say this to, like, they didn't have a reason sometimes to be like, no nonsense. But sometimes I felt like there was an air of superiority over people that I feel like didn't deserve it. And it made me uncomfortable, like, because I'm not super confrontational. And I don't think, I don't know, I think they got that a lot. They got a lot of people telling them they were aggressive just because of how they presented. They're femme, they're black, dark skin. So a lot of people probably came at them like they're aggressive. So they were like, fuck it. I'm aggressive then, bitch. What you want to do about it? And sure. But that type of that type of ear, it puts my body in a fight or flight type of thing. And it's like, it was a constant stressor for me to be around somebody that was so, like, easily irritated. Because when somebody's irritated, me being a people pleaser, I'm like, what can I do to make you not irritated? And it was constantly like that. Like, what can I do to make you feel comfortable when they just was, that's the type of person they were. They just wanted to be not wanted to be mad about something, but they always found something to be upset about. And I personally didn't like being around that because it made me feel not good. Like I just, my energy felt drained, or like, why am I here? Like, are we having fun? Do you not enjoy my presence? Because every time I'm around you, it's like you complaining about something. So I just want to be friends with somebody that has a good time, not at the expense of their own mental health or their own peace, whatever. Like I want you to genuinely be happy. Um, and I feel like there's a balance between like self-respecting, like self, like having a voice and just constantly talking over people and centering yourself. Like I think a lot of the times black women, black femme people, we are not allowed to be like into our own selves. So I want to be careful with how I say this because yeah, you should be like, I'm that bitch and who gonna check me? But you also should be kind. Like, I think you could do that. I think you could do both. Like, I think there's a way to do both. I don't think that I have to be snooty or whatever to love myself and let people know that I love myself. Like, we don't have to do that. Like, we don't have to do that. Um, and I don't know. I just felt uncomfortable being around them. I say all that to say I stuck around way too long in that friendship because I didn't have any friends and I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be like, okay, now I'm back to square one. I'm back to zero. I'm back to no friends. And I realized how is that good for them for me to stick around just because I don't have friends? Who wants somebody around them simply because they have no one else to be around? Like no one wants to be that friend that's like, she only here because she ain't got nowhere else to go. Like I don't want to make anybody a placeholder for when I do find somebody that I really gel with. So I'd rather just excuse myself from your life because I have the tendency to wait until somebody does something very heinous and I blow up and we fighting or not even fighting because I'm at a point in my life I'm not fighting anybody. Like I'm grown. We can use our words. We arguing. We screaming. We arguing. I don't want to argue with anyone. I don't want to do any of that. So I just was like, okay, we not getting along. I did ghost them. I did ghost them. And it was because it was my birthday weekend and we went to a place that granted I shouldn't have chose this place. This place was janky. Like I didn't realize how bad it was. It was like a last minute resort. I chose in New Jersey because the one I wanted to choose, I waited to last minute to book it. So I was like, damn, well, I still want to go to New Jersey. Let me just book this one. We're not even really gonna be in there. We trying to go outside and be on the what is it called? The broad walk? Like we're trying to be outside. Um, so yeah, the hotel wasn't the best. It was like a little janky resort that middle-aged people go to feel something. But I was like, okay, this can be savage. Let's salvage. Let's get dressed and let's go out. We're gonna go to the club. We're gonna do stuff like that. But the person that my friend was, they couldn't just be like, okay, yeah, the environment, like the hotel isn't the best hotel, but fuck it, we gonna have a good time anyway. Fuck this hotel. Yes, the fuck, this shit look crazy. I'm not, I wouldn't have been mad at that. They're just like, damn, this shit look crazy, but good thing we ain't even gonna be in here because we just come here to sleep. They weren't the type of person to do that. They constantly throughout the night had to point out how fucked up I mean, I'm saying it like it was a seedy ass hotel with cum stains on the sheets. It wasn't even like that. So they just like constantly had to point out little things that about the environment within the hotel. And I'm just like, why does that matter? We're not here to be in a hotel. Like, I understand they're used to a certain type of standard. I guess maybe like, okay, I'm used to, oh my God, I'm used to, whatever. But it's on my dime. It's my birthday. It's not supposed to be at your standard. It's not supposed to be what you would do. It's what who I am. If I'm the type of person that's like lodging is not that big of a deal, I'd rather spend money on the activities type of person. That's who I am. If you're the type of person like where I lay my head at night, it got to be top notch. I get it. Even I get it. Sure. But they were the type of person to be like, okay. And if I slip up and say she, it's because it's not even like a slip up. I called her she. I called her and she. Um, but they also like they. So I want to say they too. Um, yeah, they just like, you had to like what they liked. You had to conform to what they wanted, how they would do things. And I'm like, one, I'm not your child. So if I want to be, if this is the hotel I chose, this is the hotel I chose. And either you can A, get you another one, or B, did I see somebody by my window? Or B, I'm bugging out. Or B, do like I'm doing and having a good time. I know irregardless is not a word, but whatever. Have a fun time regardless, because we're not here for a fucking room. It's not a sleepover. We're out here to go and enjoy the nightlife of New Jersey. Why do we care about a damn bed or whatever? It just, the way they were acting the whole night was very rude. They said something to my sister like she accidentally bumped into her, and they were like, my sister said my bad, and she's like, good, because I would have kicked you or some shit, like pretended to kick her. And I'm just like, there's a time and maybe, I don't know, maybe that's jokes that people do, but I don't think jokes like that are funny a lot of the times, especially when you already had an attitude. So it's like, where is this coming from? Is it because you really want to kick somebody, or is it you joking? I don't know. I can't tell, because you have an attitude the whole night. Like, they literally had an attitude on my birthday weekend for just because they didn't like the hotel. So I didn't even go out that night. I was just like, I don't even want to go out. Like, I'd rather stay in versus me going out and being irritated by you, because you already on some weird shit and you done fucked up my whole night. And that's where I went wrong. I shouldn't let nobody fuck up my night. I should have dipped off. You go ahead and go hang out wherever you're going to hang out. I'm leaving, whatever. Because I don't want to be around you right now because you're being rude. And I don't understand why you're being rude, because I didn't do anything to you. It's like they took me picking that hotel as like a personal attack on them. I'm like, okay, all right. Then I choose a restaurant. I did choose I'm not the best like with decisions. So I did choose a like really weird ass themed restaurant. And I brought my sister with me, and we was laughing about the we was laughing about the restaurant. Like, damn, this themed nautical ass, corny ass fucking restaurant that I just picked. Whatever. Let's just eat. Just eat the food. There's a nigga on stage. I shouldn't call him a nigga. There's a man on stage singing off key with a damn guitar that sound out of tune, like not tuned, an untuned guitar with an untuned voice up there singing fucking Maroon 5. It was comical. It was something you could laugh about. We laughing about it because it's like, damn, whatever, this is funny. But they are sitting over there just having the worst time, like, like type of thing. And I'm just like, okay, like, no, it's not the best, whatever, sure. But we are around each other. Like, I don't like people that can't make the best out of a situation. And would I go back and do the same thing, like get the same places and do would I planned it better? Yes, I would have planned the birthday better, but it's my birthday. Like, if I don't care, why do you care? I'm not putting you in a dangerous situation. We're not going to a place where you're going to be harmed. You're at a corny restaurant. If that is something that is that fucking serious, we can't be friends, because that's not that serious to me. It never is that deep for me. I didn't take you to a dangerous spot in the quote unquote hood and you have the very strong chance of being shot. I didn't do that. We went to a nautical themed restaurant with food that was probably 2 out of 5 stars. I paid, mind you. So whatever. We weren't there to eat. We were there to go party. We were there to go enjoy the clubs. But we didn't even get to that because I'm just like, the way you're acting is weird. Weird, weird, weird. It was just so much weird ass behavior where it's just like, whatever. You know how New Jersey has a beach? It's not the best beach. I wanted to go to the beach just to see the beach, to get some seashells. Cause I have this thing where I just like to get seashells from places that like, I said seashells. I like to get seashells from places that I've been at. This one is from, Connecticut, not Connecticut. No, yeah, Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut. Like, I'm the type of person that I like to go fucking get seashells or seashells. We at the beach, she FaceTime her partner and like, hey, look at this beach. Isn't it so nice? And I'm like, is it? I think that it's not that good of a beach. I've seen better beaches. And they were like, no, like I like the air, like I know you're being sarcastic. I know you genuinely do not like the state of this beach. I know you genuinely like you're in your mind are thinking like, the fuck are we at this beach for? Like you don't want to be there. It's clear to everyone that you did not want to be there. But instead of just, I don't even know what you could have done. You could have just stayed in the room. But instead of doing that, like I don't know what you could have done. I get it. They weren't comfortable, whatever. It wasn't something they would want to do, and it just made me realize we're not compatible as friends, and I shouldn't have waited this long to confront the fact that we are not compatible as friends. I'm not going to be friends with you just for the sake of friendship, just to say I'm not alone and I don't have any friends. So now I'm friendless at 27 and whatever. Yes, I don't have any friends. I talk to myself on the internet. It is what it is. I talk to myself on the internet because I have no one else to talk to. Am I going to cry about it? No. I'm just going to deal with it because at a certain point, it's like life is too short to not be okay with you, to not be okay with being alone because you're going to find yourself alone in your life. Even if you have 15 friends, sometime in your life, 15 friends, even if you have like 15 friends, at one point, you're going to be alone and you're gonna, if you're spiraling because you're by yourself, that's a problem, mamas. That's the issue. If you're just at home and spiraling because you're alone, you got some things to work out, mamas, because it's not, shouldn't be that deep. It shouldn't be that deep. So I'm getting comfortable being alone. There was a point in my time, like there was a point where I wasn't speaking to this friend. I didn't have the situationship or whatever. And instead of just like, I was telling myself, oh yeah, I'm okay with being alone, but I was smoking like every day, like smoking marijuana every day, just to be outside of myself kind of thing. Because weed for me, I don't know how weed is for you, but weed for me, it can be, I've never tripped off of shrooms, but it can be very trippy. Like I've had experiences where I'm outside of myself type of thing when I smoke weed. So like even smoking weed was a way for me to not be alone. Like it was a way for me to feel like I wasn't alone. If that makes sense. Yeah. I am in therapy because I do have a lot of I do have a lot of mental health things with me. So I am in therapy. So don't be alarmed. But I had to stop smoking weed because I was like, I'm not doing it because I enjoy it or whatever. I'm doing it because I'm alone. I don't want to feel alone. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be bored. So let me just smoke this. Let me just get high because why not? And sure, I still smoke once in a while when I'm with other people more so. I don't do it alone. I don't do it. I don't smoke alone anymore because it's like, I don't like how I feel when I do it alone and I don't like the reasons for why I do it alone. So I don't smoke alone anymore. I've actually stopped smoking like it's, I recently smoked, but I went like a month without smoking. And then I started like, with that situationship that I just ended, he smoked. So when I was around him, I'm like, yeah, let's smoke. Why not? Let's smoke. It's not because he made me feel like I need to smoke. It just was more of a, maybe it's like a addictive way of thinking. I know people like to say weed isn't addictive, but the way weed made me feel was addictive. I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but it was. So when I saw the weed, I was like, weed did make me feel good. At least I tricked my brain into thinking I feel good. I don't know. I tricked myself into thinking I feel good. So I was like, yeah, let's smoke. But that's only been like twice. Um, oh God, I'm so hot. That's only been like twice. So yeah, I I was smoking weed just to feel kind of like, not alone still. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like loneliness is a very tricky thing because being alone can be a good thing, but being alone too much of the time can also be bad. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, as a human being, we want to be alone as people. I think we're more of like a tribe type of like. I feel like humans do like to be in a tribe. I think anybody that's saying, "Oh, I don't fuck with people. I hate people. I don't want to be around people. I hate people like." I don't want to say I hate people like that, but I strongly dislike people that are like mis what is the word? Misanthropic. I think that's the word. Word of the day. Misanthropic. Just people that just hate people just to hate people. I don't like that. I'm still a person that enjoys people. I'm a human being. So yes, I do like other human beings. And if I didn't, that would be something I would speak to my therapist about because I think that is an issue if you're really like, I just hate people. People are the fucking worst. And it's just better just be alone because people are so fucking pitiful and people just always gonna let you down. I think that type of mindset is unhealthy, toxic. I don't want to be around it because I do enjoy people. I just haven't been around the best people and I want to be alone so that when I do find people that I want to be around, it's not because I don't want to be lonely. It's because I like them. They seem like cool people that I want to be around. You know what I mean? So I think there's a healthy balance. You don't want to be like, I want to be alone because I hate people and people always disappoint you on some negative, weird shit. But you don't want to be always reliant or relying on people to feel whole because quiet as it's kept, you die alone. Um, you're gonna have to be okay with being alone. So I'm never like, yeah, I got to a point where I was like, more when I was smoking and stuff, where I was like, fuck people, whatever. People don't get me. I don't want to be around people. But I was like, do people not get you, or have you not just found the right people to get you? Like, how self centered do you have to be to think that you're the only person that thinks the way that you think? Like, there's a billion people on this fucking planet. Probably more, what is it, 2 billion people on this planet. Do you think you're the only person that thinks the way that you do? No. There's people that have similar values and similar hobbies. You just haven't found them yet. And if you give up on people, how are you going to find them? Get over yourself. So, never given I hate people. It's just right now I want to enjoy my own company so that I'm secure in myself. I'm building up who I am, learning myself so that when I do meet somebody that I want to be in a serious friendship with or even a serious romantic relationship with, I am secure and I'm not putting any type of emotional baggage on them or emotional work. Like, it's not a workout to be around me because with the situationship, I feel like it was a workout to be around me for them, for him. And I was just like, no, I don't want to force people to be around me. I don't want to force anything. I want everything to be very cohesive, very, what's the word? Just very, I don't want to say intuitive, but just like it makes sense. Like, I want things to make sense. And if you're forcing things, how can it make sense? It don't make sense. If you're forcing a relationship, it's conflict there. There's some tension. There's some friction. There's something there that I don't want to mesh with this person. So you need to listen to your body. You need to listen to how you feel. If you're constantly in fight mode around a person, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Do we want to like being constantly being stressed takes the years off your life. I think there's a statistic out there that people that are stressed a lot, it's like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. And we all know that smoking a pack of cigarettes a day is not good. So I don't smoke cigarettes and I don't want to be stressed all the time, shaving years off my life, dealing with temporary people because I know eventually this shit's gonna end because we're forcing it. We're forcing it. So don't let your loneliness force you into situations that you wouldn't be in just for the sake of saying you're not alone or just for the sake of avoiding yourself. Why are you avoiding yourself? This you all you got at the end of the day. Like you're all that you have. So you might as well get used to you. You might as well get used to you because girl, how I think not wanting to be alone is really an indication that your self love meter is like down here. It's like low. And my self love meter, it was low. It was low. And it's still it still needs some gas. So I'm like, I'm just gassing myself up basically. Going out, doing what I want to do. And people can either fuck with it or don't fuck with it. You can come along for the ride or you can watch me zoom on by. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, this concludes this episode of Talking to Myself. That's why I need to have it on. So I go brush my ass twice. Oh, shit.